Hey everybody, and welcome back to another severe storm filmer weather forecast. In this forecast, we're going to be talking about severe weather, which you don't see every day in the middle of California, continuing into the evening and overnight hours tonight, as well as a potentially big storm system as we go into the end of the month that could bring all sorts of weather, including snow to tornadoes. I have all that information for you right here. Let's get started by timing out these thunderstorms here with the NAM 3KM model here. You can see as we continue into the evening and overnight, not as many cells in erupt as earlier, but you can see we still have these isolated cells that could potentially produce some perhaps isolated tornado activity. Maybe some as we go into tomorrow morning as well. Then that threat begins to wane or off, and this becomes more of a heavier rain threat more than not. But as we go into this time frame, things start to die down as we go into late tomorrow morning. And that was basically it with the severe weather. But now we have to talk about here. You can see low pressure system out in the atmosphere coming right here. That's what triggering severe weather in the California region right there. Run here, and as we go into this low pressure system out in the atmosphere calm down right here. As we go into this time severe weather in the California region right up here. And as we go into this time frame, we're going to see things starting to calm down. And as we go into this time frame, we're likely going to begin to see a warmer side develop to this with low centered here. You can little bit of a cold right front there developing on the southern hinges time frame. Thursday afternoon, we could potentially be talking rain, perhaps some thunderstorms in the Ohio Valley region. Little bit of a cold front time frame developing on the southern hinges of the day on Thursday afternoon. Friday, we could potentially be talking rain, perhaps some thunderstorms in the Ohio Valley region as we go into that time frame. Might need to watch for some thunderstorms south of that low through the day. Friday here, Friday as we go into that potential soaker for the Ohio Valley. But we might see some snow showers for some thunderstorms south of that low, maybe even areas of there. But what this low is going to interestingly do is it's going to bring down some snow showers up here, so we're likely going to be seeing that Arctic air pouring out of Canada. What this low is going to interestingly do is it's going to bring down Arctic air. That's also likely going to be seeing that Arctic air pouring out of Canada and that snowy mix. We still have that warm moist air lifting there, just to let y'all know. That's also the mix. But that's not all. That system rolls on out of here. We get bitter cold air in the region as we go into right weekend time frame. Y'all know. But that's not all. That system rolls on out of here. Maybe we get a little bit of a disturbance in the Ohio River Valley as we go into that time frame. But going into this time frame, we begin to see warmer air. Maybe with Tuesday, Wednesday, we have a monstrous low centered in the plains, and we might need to watch for thunderstorms with this on the southern end. And very cold air on the back side of it here. That's going to be centered in the plains, and we might need to watch for thunderstorms. And as we go into on the southern end, Tuesday, and very cold air on the back side of really it here. That's going to be with bitter cold air very closely on the and as we go into the late day on Tuesday, we could potentially begin to see this low really starting up here with so we're potentially talking about maybe if this left side of it thunderstorms really from as far north as Iowa here. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. This will continue as we go into Wednesday here with the low centered on the northern hinges of it here with thunderstorms all along this cold front. This will continue as we go into Wednesday here with the low centered on the northern hinges of it. We're likely going to begin to see all along this cold front. I wouldn't be surprised if all these potentially with thunderstorms and as we go into late Wednesday afternoon, we're likely going to begin to see a blizzard potentially shaping up with this. And then on the backside, we get a potential for weather as far north as maybe a shot of Ohio as we go into that time frame. Might need to watch that closely. And then on the backside, we get a potential for a snowstorm, maybe a shot of cold air too, as we go into that time frame. That was the end of the model run. But I'm sure there's people out there like you guys wondering what spring and summer will look like. First of all, I know exactly what spring is going to look like in terms of trends. Second of all, summer also leads to that, but will kind of shift as we go through that time frame. You can see right here, as we go into the ending part of February, we still have a moderate El Nino here, a weak to moderate El Nino that will likely begin to dissipate. Still there, but begins to dissipate as we go into the March time frame. Then as we go into April, we're going to begin to see those blues popping up right there. That means La Nina, folks. And as we go into May, we're potentially talking about a neutral pattern. Then by June and July, we're potentially talking about a La Nina here, a full abrupt La Nina, and this could potentially lead to an active hurricane season here. And you're probably wondering what that will do to our hurricane season. So here's a nice diagram to basically let you know of what La Nina basically does to hurricane season. All right, so you can see cool, dry air mass out there in the Pacific right there, and that will likely allow for the trade winds to blow westward. So you have easterlies here with few wind shear, all right? You have stronger wind shear here out in the Pacific because all that wind shear is driven out here, out west, and rather than out east. Though over here, you really don't have wind shear, so that could just allow just a little hurricane to smack right dab into Florida or even the Gulf Coast. You know what I mean here. We are potentially in for a very active hurricane season, folks. I'm not saying this to scare anybody. I'm saying it to you guys be weather aware just in case of a massive hurricane happening here. And here's an example of an active hurricane season here. You're basically talking about, there were in 2017, basically, like, they were, so you see in these pinks are major hurricanes, and there were counting them 1, 2, 3, 4 of them here. And as you can see, there were about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hurricanes and probably like 10 tropical disturbances here in the mid-Atlantic. So I'm just going to let y'all know that this was a La Nina, 2017 La Nina thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think this could potentially be one of the most active hurricane seasons on record in the Atlantic. I'm not trying to hype something up. I'm saying that to keep you guys weather aware, and I'm saying it because it is very much true and what La Nina could get us out of this. Of the tropical storms and hurricanes, basically the average just stayed out to sea, to be honest with you. There were only a select little intakes that went inland, like Tropical Storm Harold and Hurricane Idalia also. But those are two different storms here, and much of these storms, which could have caused major damage to the United States, have only stayed out to sea and actually dissipated very quickly because of increased wind shear in this entire region, all right? You notice there were a lot of tropical disturbances. However, look how many hurricanes there were in the yellows and oranges. Not that many, right? There were only maybe a select few tropical disturbances here that mainly stayed out to sea, except for, Harold right here, which was a little bit different. But looking at this here, same thing. Idalia wasn't a major hurricane. It went category 4 status, low end, but it really wasn't a major hurricane because it really turned to a Cat 3 by the time it went inland. The only major hurricane I remark in the 2023 hurricane season was Hurricane Lee. And this one was a beast of a hurricane here. All right, I'm just going to let you know that this hurricane season that we're about to have is not going to be anything like the 2023 hurricane season. We are so much more likely to have all of this averages on land, and we're likely going to see more landfalls on Florida and the Carolinas and all of the tropics and even the East Coast more than not. So I'm just going to prepare you guys right now that we could have a potentially active hurricane season with La Nina, major landfall hurricanes. We could even have a Cat 5 hurricane potentially. However, steering currents and stuff are too far out to predict. All I'm telling you right now is that we have decreased wind shear, well, actually below average wind shear, as well as more warm, moist air in the Atlantic than usual. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Severe Storm Filmer. Hope you guys enjoyed this weather forecast. Have a great night, everybody.